Yes, friends, you're welcome to my channel. It's your boy Jacob. Now, today we are going to talk about basically how a Ugandan doctor can come and work in the US as a doctor, or can apply to all other doctors internationally who are in East Africa, like Kenya, Tanzania, and all African countries, all those who are interested to come and work in the US as a doctor. So basically, many of my friends who are doctors have been asking me, how can we come and work in the US as doctors? And I've been doing my research, and everyone tells you that the best way to come and work in the US as a doctor is to go through the residency program. And how do you go through the residency program to come and work in the US as a doctor? There are some of the steps in which you have to take for you to qualify for that program. And the first step you can take is to take what they call an USMLE program. So basically, this is a United States licensing exam for doctors, which they have to take for them to qualify to come and work in the US, basically as doctors. And USMLE basically had 3 steps. The first 2 steps are done at home, and the third step is done during your residence program. So basically, those first 2 steps test you on your knowledge and how you apply medical knowledge. It's a tough exam, and you have to really study to pass that exam. And basically, you have to pay money for you to qualify, and they give you that test for you to take the exam. It can basically be done during your 5th year or even after completing your medical program. So you take the test, you pass it. Once you pass it, the next step is to take what they call an OET exam, which is an occupational English exam. For most nurses, they take what they call IELTS test, which is done at the British Council. But for doctors, they insist you need to take an OET, which is the occupational English test exam. So the difference between these tests is IELTS is basically English. They test your listening, speaking, and reading. But with the occupational English test, is more of health related, and most people find the OET much more easier to pass than the IELTS. So for the doctors, you need to take that occupational English test, and here in Uganda it's done at Eastport University, and that's where you can take that test and pass it. So the next step after passing your OET exam, your occupational English language exam, is to register with ECFMG, which is an education commission for foreign medical graduates. It's an organization which gives you that certification for you to apply for the residency program. So you need to apply to it. So you need to pay some money. After paying some money and meeting all their requirements, they give you that certification. Within 2 weeks, it's out. That certification allows you to apply for most of the residence programs in the US. So once you've got that certification, another step which you have to take is to apply for the US residency program. Now, not all residence programs are friendly for international doctors. They are not all. So you need to go and look out for the ones which are friendly for international medical doctors to apply for. So you go and research on IMG friendly programs which you can apply for. There are so many sites where you can find those programs. It can be either internal medicine, surgery, obs and gyne. So you look out for those which are IMG friendly, and you get a match. So once you apply, and you make sure you apply on as many programs as possible, so that you can land a chance of getting one which can accept you to in their program. So once you get a match and you get an acceptance in one of the programs in the US, they'll give you that acceptance letter into their program, and that's what you have to take to the embassy to give you a J1 visa. So Unlike most nurses come to the US on an EB3 visa, which is an immigrant visa for nurses, but doctors they come through a J1 visa or an H1B visa. So most of them apply for a J1 visa for them to come and do the residence programs here in the US, and most of them say the success rate is almost 100% once you have once you have the acceptance from the program and you have all the requirements needed for you to work. There is no way they can deny you that visa. So once you get the J1 visa in you go to and start working on your residence program. The beauty about most of these residence programs is when you're working, you are still paid, and most doctors say during the residence programs they are paid some money, so you don't run out broke. So you go on, study, do the third step of USMLE. Once you are done it, you are done with your residence program, you sit the board certification exams, and then you qualify to work as a doctor in the US. Yeah, so basically the process is kind of lengthy. For most doctors, it takes them 3 to 4 years for them to reach to get the residence program. But once you are determined, there's nothing impossible. This world is all about determination. Once you are determined, you put in your funds, you always get what you want. And for the process, according to most doctors, I've asked to complete that whole process of application up to the visa. It might take you around $10,000 US. Yes, $10,000 US. By Ugandan money, it must be around 37 million shillings. But that comes over time when you're applying, you are registering for USMLE, paying all those certifications, paying the English test. So the whole process takes you around $10,000 US roughly over that period of time. But once you are a person who is determined and you think this is the process for you, you feel you want to work as a doctor in the US and you have an international degree. Doctors in the US don't work as medical officers. You need to go for the residence program and specialize. In our African countries, you can work on your first degree, but in the US that is impossible. You need to take a residence program, then finish it in one of the specialties, and then you can be accepted to work as a doctor. But if this is the journey for you and you think you want to work on this, I encourage you to work on it as early as possible. Once you finish your internship, start straight away so that within 2, 3 years, 4 years, you go for the residence program and you qualify to work as a doctor in the US. In brief, that's what I can tell you on how an international doctor can work in the US. I'm going to leave some links in the description section. If you want to follow up and know some of the steps, you can go through that and also do more research on the fees and on further steps which can allow you to work in the US as a doctor. Thank you very much for listening to my story.